when you work in the world of home services, you see the darndest things because obviously you go into a lot of homes. And working in the HVAC and plumbing world, you see the things that no one else sees because, let's be honest, HVAC plumbing, kind of like the offensive line of the home. Nobody wants to think about us until they have to think about it. Good ones, you don't recognize. Bad ones, you know they're there. So today we're gonna see the best of the best that our team and the scary folks on Reddit had to offer that they have seen in customers' homes throughout this year. So let's get into it. Picture credits, I have pending. I'm sorry I pulled these off without getting proper picture credits. We're starting off with a couple from our team. And whenever we talk about ductwork needing to be cleaned and or replaced, it looks like we're spelunking in a Yeti Lair. Do you see what I see? You're breathing that. Dog, 1, get your ducts cleaned. 2, let's get on a regular filter changing schedule. Join our maintenance plan, actually, and we can make that happen for you. But get on a regular filter changing schedule. My dad, his trick, I don't know if he actually lives by it, but it's what he tells us. So it's one of those, it may be one of those like do as I say, not as I do situations. Who knows? But every time the electric bill comes in, he says that's whenever he should go change his filters. Whether he does or not, that's on him. Darren, who knows? Maybe. Calling you out. But that is a Yeti Lair that is needing to be spelunked. But brass tacks on this, guys. So whenever your ductwork is this dirty, here's what I know is happening. 1, your air conditioner is probably starved for air because we are either having a very clogged filter and your filter is doing all that it can to catch the dirt, dust, and debris that are moving through your duct system, or because it's this dirty, we might have a situation where maybe a filter forgot to be changed or never got put in, and now we have a bunch of dirt, dust, and debris caked all over our evaporator coil. And this can lead to a lot of adverse health effects. Anybody who has asthma or allergies will be suffering in the home. Or, worst case scenarios we've seen, this can cause some mold issues to arise, things like that. So this isn't, it's not a super joking matter. However, the far side of it is few and far between. It can get really dirty before bad things happen, but this is a cause of concern. It is going to decrease the life of your system. It's going to decrease the efficiency of your system, and ultimately it's going to decrease how comfortable you are in your home. This is something that can be solved pretty quickly. We could do a duct cleaning. We could upgrade your filter system, and ultimately what we have in my house and we have in a lot of our team members' houses is something like an ionizer of some sort. So something that is producing UV, that is neutralizing any dirt, debris, dust, bacteria, mold, anything like that. And I believe our ionizers are all right around $800 to $1,200 and they last for 5 to 10 years. So it's a pretty quick and easy way to make sure that the air you breathe in your home is always top notch. All right, next pick. So this one is a little bit less aggressive. We're not spelunking anywhere. However, this definitely gives you the womp womps. This is a liquid line, and that is a liquid line dryer, that little cylinder that you see there. And as you could probably tell by the diameter that's there, it's a kinked line. And a kinked line in your refrigerant system is going to cause refrigerant to start changing phase well before it should because it's acting as a metering device. So 1, if refrigerant is flowing, it's not flowing properly. 2, your system's probably not too long for this world if the system continues to run with a kinked refrigerant line like that on either the liquid or the suction line, either one. If the line is kinked, give us a call, give someone a call because 1, your system probably isn't running well, or 2, if it is running, 1, you're living on borrowed time, and 2, it's probably gonna die soon. So if you have a kinked line, I think it looks like from the other pictures, I'm not gonna show the other pictures because that would out the house. I don't wanna out the house. It looks like maybe a condenser was hit by a lawnmower. Just not super hard, but kind of scooted over just a little bit and it kinked that line. So easy fix, we just gotta cut it loose. If it can still pump down, we can save the refrigerant. If not, we've gotta canister the refrigerant and kind of start over. But you're not gonna be able to cool your house either way. So if you have a kinked refrigerant line, you need to make sure that you are getting it checked out because next time you go to turn on your air conditioner, you're gonna be sorely, sorely, sorely mistaken if it's gonna work. Those are the 2 from our team. Now we dive into the labyrinth that is Reddit. And let me tell you, some of the Reddit technicians out there have seen some of the best stuff and some of the most humorous stuff that's out there. So this picture comes from Auto Rotate on Reddit. And all it says is, this is not what we mean when we say ground source heat pump. So if you're gonna go this hard with the mulch, unless this is a lawn ornament, Auto Rotate and I are on the same page here. This isn't what we mean when we say ground source heat pump. Ground source heat pump, that's a whole different situation. We're using geothermal water. We're not going to have a condenser. You can put all the mulch in your yard you want to. However, if we have, also that's not a heat pump. That's just an air conditioner. Go easy on the mulch. What are we doing, guys? This air conditioner's lived a long life. It's old. And now we're burying it before it's dead? If it's not dead, it's dead now. Do better. In all reality, I don't know what would have caused this. Someone who just doesn't know that like their air conditioner needs to be like able to breathe. But what the ramifications of this would be, what the second and third order consequences of burying your condenser in mulch would be. So each spring, whenever it comes time to turn on your air conditioner, we start advertising and pushing hard that it's time to do your spring maintenance. And why that is if you live in the South, but really if you live anywhere that you have an air conditioner, but for us, we have cottonwoods. And cottonwoods, dirt, dust, debris, all of that will cake on your outdoor coil. And whenever it comes to running your air conditioner, your coil needs to be able to displace heat. And if we essentially have a fur coat on it when it comes to cottonwood, or we have prematurely buried it, it is not going to be able to displace heat very well. So what this is going to do is going to cause high head pressure. It's going to cause your compressor to, this will cause your compressor to die in very short order. Maybe that's the goal. Maybe. This unit is old. Maybe. They're like, dude, this thing just won't die. My husband, my wife, whoever, they won't let me replace it until it's dead. So we got to make sure it's dead. So what it'll do is it'll raise the head pressure. It'll raise the pressures that the refrigerant is running. This unit will guaranteed start squealing and making terrible noises because it's going to be tripping high limits if those are still functional in a system of this age. And it is going to need reset after reset after reset. So when it comes to maintenance, this is basically like an overrepresentation as to what it looks like whenever cottonwood, dirt, and debris are all caked on your coil and your condenser is not able to displace heat properly. That's why it's so imperative, one, that you have enough clearance around your condenser or your heat pump so that it can breathe. And two, why it's so imperative that you clean your condenser coil or your heat pump coil so that it can continue to displace heat properly and not get overpressured and not break sooner than it should. So this video on Reddit from Sterling 1995 gives me PTSD to the nth degree. I have a couple of run-ins with things exactly like this. He's working on a package unit and he goes to open up the side panel. And for those of you in the technician field, you know this. Any good tech worth their salt carries at least 3 to 4 cans of wasp spray on them at all times. Cue me killing a wasp with a stick. Oh, sneaky fella. Building one right down there. Got him. The evidence. If you see a hornet, there's definitely a nest somewhere. Bring a better weapon than I did. Bring wasp spray. But you should. There's a wasp nest that's the size of a softball and maybe even a cantaloupe inside of this gas package unit. One, that's terrifying. It's going to make for a bad day if you don't have wasp spray. If you don't have wasp spray, so fun story. We're going to give you the weave here. I was down in the wonderful little town of Sterling, Oklahoma. The username that I was reading is Sterling, and my story legitimately did happen in Sterling, Oklahoma. We replaced all the package units at the Sterling schools. There was probably like 15 or 20 package units that we replaced down there. And I got sent down there to do a maintenance on all 15 of them. And I'm 17, 18 years old at the time, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go do my maintenances. And the maintenance guy at Sterling, he says, hey, he said, just a forewarning, we've been battling wasps like crazy this season, so you might need to make sure you got some wasp spray. And, I was like, yeah, sure, I'm sure I do. I did not. And so I go to my truck, recognize I don't have any wasp spray in there either. And so I go to the little general store in town. They don't have any wasp spray. Apparently during the summer of 2016, there was a wasp pandemic happening in Sterling, Oklahoma because the town was sold out, fresh out of wasp spray. So thankfully, I go back and I start looking up, okay, will WD-40 kill a wasp? And it will, but by means of drowning, not by means of actually killing it. So I drown an entire wasp nest with basically an entire bottle of WD-40 and then return the next day after I did 2 or 3 maintenances with 3 to 4 cans of wasp spray. So HVAC techs, homeowners, make sure you have wasp spray, especially if you're going to go do your maintenance. Wasps love to build their nests right there on either electrical disconnects, or if you've got a package unit, if they can get inside of there, man, they are absolutely in hog heaven. Really and truly, as far as like ramifications that this system, like that'll have to the system, it's not a whole lot other than like you just have wasps there. There's not really a means for them to get inside the house, because on like a package unit, there's compartmentalization to where it's pretty well walled off, to where there is no means by which outside air can get inside. So they're just kind of there in the gas, in the blower exchange area. So just right below it in the electrical panel. But it can make a bad day for you, homeowner or technician. So make sure you have wasp spray, because otherwise you'll be fighting them off with WD-40 and a stick. Also, I'm realizing now that my means of killing wasps is always unconventional, because it's a do as I say, not as I do. You know, carry wasp spray. I don't, but you should. So we are gonna end, final picture, on a wonderful install that our crews did actually just yesterday. And you know, there's something about seeing a great install that just looks right. Whenever, you know, all the lines are bent to perfect 90s, whenever the drain lines are run properly, when the duct is just perfectly strewn about and it's not blocking the walkway, our install teams, you know, with this one, I like it, Picasso. You know, this is too good. So whenever you go to replace your HVAC system, choosing the quality of company that you decide to do business with matters a whole lot, because a lot of times price is indicative of quality. Now, there are some extremes on both the high and the low end where, you know, there's going to be exceptions to that rule. But we work hard to make sure that we pay our teams exceptionally well so that we can provide the top-notch quality that your home and your family deserves when it comes to staying comfortable. So if you want to know how much it costs to get a system installed that looks something like this, you can scan the QR code here or click the link down below and get an instant estimate in less than 45 seconds, maybe 2 minutes if you need to think about it a little bit. But upfront pricing right away. We don't need to get anybody in your house before you see what it might cost to upgrade your system and get a furnace installation that looks a whole heck of a lot like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the reaction videos today. I know I sure did, and now I'm going to be thinking about wasps all day long. But as always, do something nice for somebody. You never know, it might change their life. We're out.